What's good, everyone? It's Joseph Green Dentistry back with another video. In today's video, we're going to talk about 5 tips that pre-dental students should be doing throughout their journey. I just wanted to make this quick little video because there's a lot of pre-dental students out there that may be applying, or maybe they're just starting off their journey, that really don't know that they should be doing these things. If you do these tips, it'll actually make your life a lot more easier when you're filling out the application and when you're trying to keep track of everything that you're doing throughout your pre-dental journey. So not only should you want to do these things, because some of the things we're going to talk about will actually help you in learning more about dentistry, but also it'll make you more competitive because you'll be able to remember everything that you did throughout your time as a pre-dental student when you're getting ready to apply. So first tip, shadowing. Now, I know what you may be thinking, well, I know I have to shadow a dentist, but you'd be surprised of how many pre-dental students I meet that don't actually know that you're supposed to shadow a dentist. Shadowing is really important because how else will you know if you actually want to be a dentist without shadowing? If you're shadowing a dentist, they let you stand right behind them and watch them so you can really get a great idea of what you will be doing when you become a dentist. For example, I shadowed a dentist, an optometrist, and a couple other professions before I decided on dentistry. Towards the end of my shadowing days, I cut all the professions down to dentistry and optometry. Those were the 2 that I was really debating on. After shadowing both professions, I knew very quickly that dentistry was for me. I just loved how hands-on it was. I loved how you always had to be on your feet. I loved the patient interaction. Optometry was cool. There was a lot of patient interaction, except to me, it was just a little bit boring. And that's not to bash the field, it's a great field, but it just wasn't for me. I remember one time I was shadowing and I fell asleep. And this actually happened twice. That's how I knew being an optometrist just wasn't for me. And I chose dentistry, and I don't regret the decision at all. Now, a common question is, how many shadowing hours should I get? Well, in my personal opinion, I think you should try to get at least 80. You don't want to go too overboard, like 300 hours. Although it'll look pretty good on the application, it's not necessarily necessary. Dental schools just want to see that you've done a good amount of shadowing and enough to where they could say, okay, he knows what he's getting himself into. So on my personal opinion, I would say 80 hours to 150 hours is a good range. Not only that, but some schools have a minimum amount of shadowing hours that they want you to have. So some schools may want you to have 100 hours and others may only want 80. It just depends on the school. Number 2, get to know your professors. Now, you won't realize how clutch this will be until you're looking for professors to write you a letter of recommendation. I had no problems getting letters of recommendations because I was really cool with majority of my professors. And it doesn't take much to get to know your professors. If you have a question in class, write it down and go to their office hours later. And that's how you could build a relationship with your professors. And in the future, when you're trying to get a letter of recommendation, they're gonna be like, oh, I remember him. He was in my office a lot. He had good questions. He seemed like a hardworking student. And you'll get a good letter of recommendation. Not only will it help with letters of recommendations, it will also help whenever you're trying to do research. If you want to do research, especially at a bigger school, it's really hard to get on a research team unless you know the professor beforehand. So getting to know your professor is very clutch because it will ultimately help you out throughout your pre-dental journey. And also, some of these professors are pretty cool. You'd be surprised at how cool a professor is and how they'll present themselves to you if you go to their office and you just get to know them a little bit. Next, volunteering. Volunteering is very important, especially when you're applying to dental school. The dental school committee, they want to see around 50 hours of volunteering, give or take. They just want to see that you're very active within the community. If you don't like volunteering, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Maybe just try to find something that you like to do. For example, if you're watching this video, it means you probably want to go to dental school. So since you like dentistry, you could try and find a free dental clinic to volunteer at. There's plenty of programs like this across the country. I know in Texas specifically, there's a program called T-MOMS. It stands for Texas Missions of Mercy. And they're very, very big on giving free dental care to underserved populations. So doing things like this will get you your volunteer hours, and it'll also make you feel like you're really making an impact in your community. Next, you want to keep a journal of everything you're doing. So whenever you fill out the application, they're going to ask for specific dates on when you did things, when you shadowed a dentist, when you volunteered. So it's very important if you get an award, if you just shadowed someone, that you write it down in your notebook along with the date, along with maybe a 1 to 2 sentence summary of what you did or what the award is for. It's just very important to keep track of everything you do and write it down. And lastly, plan ahead. You should do your own research and try to learn how long it'll take for you to graduate undergrad. And you need to plan this out because a lot of pre-dental students don't know this, but you're gonna have to take a test called the DAT, which is the dental admissions test. And to make life easier, you're gonna need 2 to 3 months free so you could dedicate to only study the DAT, and you're not gonna wanna take classes during this time. So if you have a plan on what classes you plan on taking this semester, and you know how long it's gonna take you to finish all your classes, you could try and find a 2 to 3 month period where you're not doing anything so you could take your DAT during this time. Planning ahead also gives you an idea of which classes you have to take during which semester is gonna be the hard ones, which ones are gonna be a lighter load, so you could plan other things around those times. Just staying on top of your own schedule and knowing your own timeline is key to having a successful pre-dental journey. One way to help plan this out is talking to your advisor. Back in my undergrad, I had a very close relationship with my advisor, and anytime I had a question, I'll shoot her an email or I'll stop by her office and I'll be like, hey, should I do this or should I do this? And she would just tell me right then and there what I should do. And there was times whenever I'll schedule an appointment when I would have a lot of questions, and she would let me come in and we just discuss what I need to do. So having a relationship with your advisor is very crucial in planning your pre-dental journey. So those are my 5 tips on what pre-dental students should be doing right now. I hope everyone watching enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. We're on the road to 200 subscribers, so let's keep that going. Again, I really appreciate all the support. And yeah, that's a wrap. Peace.
Said being gold diggers only want worth 6 figures. Worth 6 figures.
She don't love my status, she don't love my actions. Boy, this no practice, she love the way I'm rapping. She love the way I'm rapping. Thank you, Lord, for my blessing. We at the crib, we chatting.